welcome back to another show. This is the Quickies for Coronavirus, part 2. Basically, these are films I've watched while in a self-isolation with coronavirus, which means you watch some really good films, but also watch some films that are a bit trashier. Because sometimes you can't really keep watching Bergman films and Human Condition and things. Sometimes you get the need for utter trash. So these are the trashier films I've watched, because to boredom. So some are good, some are bad. I mean, one of them was Doolittle, which I've just covered because but then I realised that's probably its own video. Doolittle was such a disaster, its own video. That's kind of inspired my new series. But these ones, some of these were good fun, you know. One of them wasn't, but most of them were quite enjoyable actually. The first one, I'll start with the worst one, just to get it out of the way, is Charlie's Angels. This was a bomb from late last year. It's not good. It's really not good. It has one of the worst opening scenes I've ever seen, which is meant to be witty, which is meant to be introducing some of the characters, and it ends up being this like anti-male screed about how women are ignored and, you know, all men are bastards type of thing. You're thinking, oh my god, what are you doing? This is just so painfully biased and stupid, because I mean, it's like, it's not true. I mean, yeah, there are scumbag men around, but there's also nice men around. There's also scumbag women around. It's like, it's based on some weird ideological thing that can only exist in the mind of someone who's privileged and has, you know, a lot of power, and who's got like a martyr complex. That's where it feels like, you know. So that's how it starts out. You're thinking, oh god, this film's going to be unwatchable. All the bad reviews were true. You know, because this film got good reviews and bad reviews. It got extreme reviews, which is weird because it's not a very good film, but it's not deserving of all the hatred, but it's not deserving of any praise either. It's just, it's okay, but it has a really stupid plot. I mean, the plot basically runs and round, trying to do double crosses and triple crosses, and then it comes back to essentially being the people who are guilty, the people you thought were guilty in the first place, and you never really change your mind that they were the guilty parties. You just assumed there's a few patches in the middle. And ultimately the plot doesn't make any sense, because it could have been solved by arresting these people like in the first 10 minutes of the film. It's that kind of film. It's like, well, why would we go through all this stuff? It's not very smart. And it's trying to be like Mission Impossible, because Mission Impossible was a big hit because it was reintroduced, and it's been this 20-year franchise. It keeps going and going. So they were trying to think, well, Charlie's Angels was based on a show as well. There was a hit film in the early 2000s. Let's bring it back. Maybe we can have another big series from it. And this one didn't work at all, because it has a plot that feels very Mission Impossible. You know, it has a traitor from the inside, it has supposed twists, but it doesn't have the kind of action that Mission Impossible has, or the basic intelligence of knowing what it is. Mission Impossible movies know what they are. They're silly, fun movies. That's what they are. They're entertainment. They're not too serious, but they treat the world serious enough to catch you from the next action scene, and it keeps the plot working so that you're involved with the action. And this thing, there's lots of action scenes, but you don't care. I mean, really, you don't care at all, because it's just so cartoonish. And the characters, there's no characters. It basically is a film that relies on the actors having charm. Elizabeth Banks, who wrote and directed this one, also one of the stars. She's one of the bosses of Charlie's Angels agency thing, and she's good because she's always good in these films. She's a good actress. As an action director, she's not that good. It's like she doesn't know how to build suspense and rise and falls of action. She just doesn't get it. So it just causes these action scenes to happen. You're throwing other stuff on the screen. You've got all these action people helping her out to make these sequences, but the sequences don't actually have any get up and go about them, so they're just boring. I mean, it does resemble Terminator Dark Fate, which is another film with lots of action scenes that didn't really have any point. This is better than Terminator Dark Fate, actually. I mean, this one actually has fun actors in the centre of it. I mean, Kristen Stewart is fun as a lead. She doesn't have much to do. She has a very kind of boring part. She's playing this person who's a rich kid who is troubled, and now she's fighting crime. Very basic character, but she plays with a lot of fun. A lot of times she plays characters that are much more doer, but here she gets to have some fun. And she plays it up, and she's very enjoyable, and she deserves a better film than this. Because she's given it 100% to make it work, and she's not been given the material. But whenever she starts to do anything, she's going 100% to do it and make it look good. And she's obviously having some fun with it, but she's not given the part. Naomi Scott plays the person who's like introduced to the world of Charlie's Angels in this film as well. She doesn't have a clue. She's a scientist who is the person who tells them there's something fishy going on, and she is brought in and she's getting protected, but also she starts to learn how to be one of the angels during the film. She's a lot of fun as well because she's playing a geeky character who has to learn to stand up for herself. A very rote character, but she's another one who's a good actress, and she has a lot of fun with it, and she can play up the cliches and be a very enjoyable presence throughout the film. Like, she's one person who's like, she's obviously a movie star in the making. She's really good. She's not given the best film here, but she does what she can with what she's given, and it's very enjoyable to watch her work because she's good. The other actress whose name I can never remember is, okay, she's the serious one out for revenge because her mentor was murdered early in the film. Yeah, they're using that plot. Instead of the girlfriend being murdered, like you'd have a male protagonist, because it's a female protagonist, her mentor gets murdered. But it's still exactly the same plot, I'm going to get revenge for this, blah blah blah. And she learns not to do it for revenge, to do it for a higher purpose, but she still kills a person. It's that thing, it's exactly the same as we've seen a million times before. She doesn't really, it's not like it's the actress's fault, she's not really given much beyond that sort of thing. She does what she does well, but she's not given any details that really work. And that's the problem with trying to do like this feminist film without actually having a complicated view of anything. If all the men in the film are scumbags, and they are in this film, they're either basically people who are useless but help the angels in some way and are very nice, like the new man type of cliche who are not threatened by strong women, which most men aren't really. Most men are fine. There's a couple of idiots who aren't, but most men are fine with that, It's only in women's minds that men aren't fine with that, really. Most men are. Any sane person is. It's just that there's some people who aren't, but they're the minority. So there's that, but you also have all these scumbags, or wave after wave of scumbags. And it's always the men rather than... There's no women who are the scumbags, which is really weird. This also means there's no... Because they have to make the men incompetent scumbags, there's no threats, there's no actual hill to climb for them to actually beat a force that's terrifying. No, they're just against these guys who are pretty useless. Some of them are funny, but they're kind of useless. And that defeats the purpose of the film. The thing about something like Terminator or Aliens is, or recently Wonder Woman, was they were facing down difficult antagonists. Their struggle against them and having to fight, get the strength from within to do this, is what made you really like them, because they were strong characters. And they were facing something that was much stronger than them, so they had to use their wits and had to be really strong to survive it. You don't get that in this film, so you don't care, because these are just spoiled brats. And the actors try and do their best to make it work. But the concept's wrong. The concept doesn't work because it doesn't have any real struggle. It's just this rigged game. A rigged game by people whose view of the world is very spoiled and not very interesting. So it's a very boring film. But it's enjoyable as a silly time waster, but that's mainly because the 2 of the 3 lead actresses are a lot of fun. It's a kind of a shame because I was hoping this would actually be good, because even though I'm criticising this for all this stuff, I do like films with female protagonists because it's different from the old male guy with a big gun thing. It's different, it's potentially unique. And when you don't pull it off, or you do it in a very smug way, it really damages the chances of other people coming in and doing this in an interesting way. And which is a shame when you just take the idea and just do it in the most basic way and don't make it interesting. Because there's some films I've already covered, like Revenge or Prevenge, which are far more interesting versions of this kind of thing of strength of women, and these were recent ones. Or the Complications of Women within a genre idea. This doesn't do it. This is just this mess of a smug film based on an ideology that comes from this very smug West America, California world, where people seem to have inferiority complexes, and it's just, for the rest of the world, it's just grow up, you know. So that's Charlie's Angels. We follow Charlie's Angels up with another Kristen Stewart film, which is Underwater. That's another one that bombed. Now it's a shame this one bombed. It was filmed in 2017, I think. It was in the shelf for a while, and it was released in like January, I think, or something like that, and then instantly dropped onto everything because it bombed and then made the coronavirus, you know. Which is a shame, because this is an enjoyable film. This is an underwater film with a monster, and it does it well. It's an oil rig, just like the Abyss, just like many of these other films set underwater. And this is a massive one. This is like a big structure. And at the beginning of the film, Kristen Stewart's basically in the bathroom getting ready to go to work when the whole rig starts to collapse. She has to escape into a safe area, and this rig, which has like 200 people on it, is suddenly collapsed and most of them are dead. So instantly there's very little resources. They have to try and find a way to escape from this place. And there's also a lot of there's pressure on them because they're so underwater, they've been depressurised, so they can't just escape from the surface straight away. They have to go there to find somewhere safe so they can depressurise, which is another problem for them. And they also have to find out what's going on, what caused the problem. And to do that, they have to first escape from the area that's collapsed and find other people and see who survivors are, and then slowly through the film they realise that's a monster movie. Because the first half hour they don't know that, they just think there's been a leak somewhere or something's went really badly wrong and it caused a catastrophic meltdown. So you have Vincent Cassel as a captain, Kristen Stewart as a technician. She knows how to keep the thing running, so she knows where everything is. You have various scientists who are there. So there's only as a group of like 6 or 7 of them to start with. And the captain pretty much wants to get his people out before he goes out. He's already sent some people to the surface and on the escape rigs that he had there. So he's already sent his people up who he could get out straight away. We don't know if they ever made it to the top. We don't know what happened to them ever in the film. It's never explained. It's suggested that even these people didn't make it. And basically they're trying to escape. They have to go from the place they're at, they stay there, they're going to die once they've found these other people who survived. And so they have to, this small group have to go from this area to another area through dangerous places to try and reach an area which has other escape rigs so they can escape to the surface. And it's going to be very dangerous because they're going to have to go in a place where there's no lights and there's nowhere to actually see where they're going. That's the only way to do it. And they have to go through these other areas which are very much compromised. So you start to see them go through this situation, and then as they go through they realise there's a monster there and it's picking them off one by one. I won't go any further than that. That's just the setup. It's a very enjoyable film. There's a couple of things I would go against it. One thing is the rig they built to show the area where they try to escape from seems a bit big for an underground mining platform. It feels a bit too spacious for something like that. Because if you're used to something like Abyss, which is much smaller and cloggier, that's what it feels like it should be, but it's not. It's a bit bigger to get the cameras and lights in, I think, and maybe to make it look more impressive, but it doesn't quite work as well. So it just feels like it hasn't, they haven't invested enough money in the sets to make them look right. They've gone for a more conventional way. So that gets in the way a little bit early on, because you don't really feel you're underwater, you feel that you're in a set. But as they go forward, as they go into areas which is much more compromised and broken, that's much less of a problem. There's also not much characterisation beyond the basic. But for me that wasn't a problem, because I quite liked the idea that you didn't know that much about these people, you just knew the basics, and they were just trying to survive. So it's fine for me, but it's been something that's been brought up as a problem. I think it's fine. For like a movie, it's a 90-minute monster movie, survival movie, you don't need all that stuff. The acting's good, and everybody's good. The only person who's annoying is T.J. Miller as one of the survivors. But he is killed halfway through. He's just like, he's sort of been told to do a lot of jokes, and there's just too many of them. It's just like constant, it's like shut up and die. And he dies. So, there you go. But apart from that, that's fine. The thing I like about it is it knows what it is. It's a B movie. That's all it is. That's all it'll ever be. They're making a B movie. They have no illusions of making anything beyond that. And it's an atmospheric B movie. We don't see the monster for a very long time, and it's kept in shadow. And the danger of the first hour is mainly the collapse in structure and them trying to survive that. And then when the monster movie starts, it's creepy because they keep the monster out of view. So even though the monster design is very Lovecraftian, and that itself doesn't really work as well because you've seen it before, the idea of keeping it in shadow and having lots of lights and you just see it briefly makes it work a lot better as a threat. So they know they've learned from mistakes of other films, and they know just keep it in darkness. So even though it's not the most unique monster, the way it's directed really works because they know they don't have the most unique monster, so they're trying their best to make it work. And when you finally see the big monster, even though it's been done before, it's still quite impressive because they really go for it. They go for this big Lovecraftian feel to it. Yeah, so that I won't be on what I was going to say, going on there. But I'm not into details of the suspense sequences. They're all good, the acting's good. It's very enjoyable. I had a lot of fun with it. I didn't expect much from this one, and I really enjoyed it because it was exactly what it should be. It's for people who love films like The Abyss, or even Leviathan, stuff like that are just underwater suspense movies. It works. It's very enjoyable. If you like that kind of movie, you'll enjoy it. That's it. Okay, next we're going to talk about Gemini Man. That's the Will Smith versus young Will Smith movie that was a massive bomb. Late 2019, directed by Ang Lee. It was like a film that was in development for years, and it finally came out, and everyone said, "Why did this take so long to come out? It's just a 90s action movie." So when I heard all that, I thought, I won't bother. So I finally saw it because I'm stuck in the house. It was very enjoyable actually. It was a nice surprise because it wasn't quite what I expected, because Ang Lee is much more of a serious director than just doing an action movie. If you see stuff like Crouching Tiger and Hulk, he tries to take them seriously. He tries to not make it like frivolous. And it kind of works in this idea because he takes the idea and basically says, okay, this is a cliche idea, this is like a mad scientist idea that's been done like the Sci-Fi Channel millions of times, But take it seriously and just play up the idea of the assassin. Will Smith plays an assassin who's burnt out, that old cliche. But they play it up as serious. It's not like he's waking up every night and terrified. It's just this burnout. He's burnt out. He's starting to think of the cost of his actions. And you get more details of why he became an assassin as he goes. And it's not a cliche fest. It's just much more understated. It's like, none of this stuff is very unique, but this is probably true of why people become assassins, and they just play it as just an honest thing of, it's just this burnt out person who made some bad decisions and he's not very happy with the decisions he made, and he's trying to find a way out of the funk he's in. But he thought he was doing stuff for the right reasons, and it turns out he might not have been. When he starts to suspect that, obviously they send in someone to kill him because he's now compromised. And through this process, he ends up teaming up with Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who's you know, an agency person who for some reason is thrown in this assignment even though she's well above it. And she ends up on the run with him as they realise something's up. He meets up with Benedict Wong, who's also an ex-assassin who knows everybody, so he helps him get from place to place. So it becomes this team, and it's a fun team. All the actors are enjoyable. They play off each other well. Like, Will Smith doesn't feel the need to hog the screen all the time in this film. He actually underplays it nicely, so that's quite good. Because in a lot of ways I prefer Will Smith underplaying, because it means he doesn't throw in his mannerisms all the time, so it actually works quite nicely. And it allows the other actors to... Basically, Benedict Wong becomes a comedy person, and it works better that way. Because you don't really need Will Smith throwing jokes in this film. It's a much more serious film. Even though it's a thriller and it's ultimately a popcorn movie, his character needs to be serious. And I eventually found out the person sent after him is a younger version of Will Smith who was a clone and who's been brought up to believe he's unique and is not a clone, and basically is like what happened to Will Smith had all his instincts but none of his traumas or none of the things that led him to be a hitman. Instead, this guy was created to be a hitman but had a lot more support to him. So the idea of where would your life go if you had different options and what's integral to your character and what's not and stuff like that. That's what it's played around with. Of course, it's not going to be that deep because you can't really go into existential angst in an action movie. But Ang Lee plays it well, and he plays the idea of the mood of it and the idea of to ruminate with ideas rather than just throw them as a joke somewhere. So they play it serious, but they don't actually. They let the kind of story be the centre of it, but the ideas float in the background, and they've obviously kind of tune on them a little bit and try to work it out. But they're not externalising all the time. It's just the way they act, the way they interact with each other that tells you what's what they're thinking. And every so often it comes across in dialogue, but it's more about a mood thing rather than we're going to talk about this for 2 hours or something. And it's a very enjoyable film. It's like, I can see why a lot of people didn't like it. They probably expect a big wham bang action movie that was way over the top, and it's not over the top. Clive Owen plays the villain, and he's an understandable villain. It's like, yeah, he's gone too far, he's gone weird. But from his point of view, he's trying to save lives, because if he can clone someone as good as Will Smith's character is at assassinating people, he can take out lots of scumbags easily, and which means sending less people in to die. To his point of view is, I'm trying to do this, it may be horrible, but it will save lives in the long term. So he's not like a horrible villain. He's like, he's villainous and he does things to protect himself, and he does things that are completely unacceptable, but he has a reason for doing it. And to him, he brought up the clone as his son and loved him and actually protected him and trying to make the best life for him. You know, so he's a reasonable villain. You understand his point of view. He's wrong, but you understand it. And the whole film's like that. It's a very understated, older director film. It's not meant to be the hip new thing, which I found enjoyable. I really enjoyed it. It was surprising because I thought it was going to be a disaster based on the reviews. And it was nice. A nice little film. It was really enjoyable. I'd recommend that if you go into the expectations you're not going to see a explosion in a minute film, you're going for a kind of more understated hitman movie where one of the hitmen turns out to be a clone of the other one. It's a hitman movie. That's all it is. It's a hitman movie. So, hope you enjoy that one. Now we're going to a Guy Ritchie movie, The Gentleman, which is stars Matthew McConaughey, Charlie Hunnam, Colin Farrell, Hugh Grant. It's an enjoyable piece of hokum. And this is Guy Ritchie coming back after this genre after he's been doing the Sherlock Holmes films. He did Man from U.N.C.L.E., which is a lot of fun actually. He did King Arthur, which I quite liked despite his reviews, and he did Aladdin, which was not a good film, but it made a lot of money. So this is him coming back and doing his own kind of film rather than a studio film. And it was very enjoyable. It came out like in January, did pretty well, it was a low budget film. Stars Matthew McConaughey plays a guy who's the leader of the weed business. So he's manufacturing weed, which is illegal in the UK, but it's not like a hard drug or anything. So he's just manufacturing it, and he uses like all these rich people and their property, because a lot of them are actually like have the land and the houses and the titles, but they don't actually have that much money. So he uses their property to grow weed and pays them off, and which allows them to renovate their houses and things and keep themselves going. So that's his scam. That's what he does, and he's trying to retire because he figures he's had enough of it. And as he retires, the new generation, the people who want to buy into his business and take it over, are trying to manipulate him so they can lower the price of the buyout, because they know this will be big in 20 years when everything's made legal. He, on the other hand, knows something's going on, and has got his sidekick, played by Charlie Hunnam, investigating it all, as some of his farms are hit and some people are compromised. And it all becomes this story of people manipulating each other to try and get an edge on each other, and there's an Asian gangster played by Henry Golden who's trying to come up in the world and become something more important than he is at the moment. So the people with ambitions, you've got people who are just trying to break even, people trying to get out of the world, and so it's a lot of different people involved. Everyone's lying to each other. You've got press barons who are in it for their own reasons. You've got Colin Farrell's this guy who's a boxing trainer who's training these young men and keep them off the streets. They get him into trouble, so he has to come in and try and, get his kids out of trouble and, basically not get him falling back to where he trains the kids. So you have different people creating deals. It's a fun film. It's very Guy Ritchie, very over the top. It's not as pretentious as some of his earlier films. It's not as self-involved as some of his earlier films. He kind of is in the joke in this one. It's an absurd film. It's silly. It's enjoyable. His character's over-talking and over-explaining things, because he likes to do that in his gangster movies, and you just have to accept that's what he does. That's just a limitation he has. So once you accept that, it's fine. All the acting's good fun. Everyone's having a good time. Hugh Grant plays this scummy news reporter who's trying to play all sides, and he's having a blast playing this utter scumbag who's probably gay and who kind of fancies Charlie Hunnam in the film. Charlie Hunnam was kind of the lead, actually. He's the guy who's trying to keep everything going, and he's run from place to place, and he's a lot of fun in this because he's playing it straight, but he has moments of humour. And Colin Farrell, when he turns up and he's trying to keep his boys out of trouble, he's loads of fun. He doesn't care. He's so no nonsense, and he will do whatever needs to keep these kids from trouble. So it's a very enjoyable film. There's nothing in it that's unique, but if you're looking for an hour and a half enjoyment, this is it. This works. This is really enjoyable bit of Holcomb. So I'd recommend this one if you're looking for a good little gangster movie during the lockdown. Finally, we have Guns Akimbo, which stars Daniel Radcliffe and Sparrow Weaving. This is another enjoyable bit of Holcomb. This is silly stuff. It's also not unique in any way as an idea, but it's done well because the actors are fun, really. Daniel Radcliffe plays this guy who's a vegan, self-important video game designer for this like annoying mobile game that it's basically gets people's money for playing this addictive little game, and he's one of the programmers of it. He hates his job, he hates his life. He's a bit of a, troll online. Although he claims he's against the trolls, he's just trolling the trolls, but he's really a troll. And that gets him in trouble because he gets drunk one night and goes on to this thing, which is this site where people get hunted down and fight it out. Two different parties fight it out called the Symposium. It exists in the city and it's illegal. People do it and people watch it and there's lots of views on it, and it's something that would be hunted down instantly in real life, but in the world of the movie, you accept it. It's fun. That's all it is. It's fun. So he trash talks one of the symposium people while drunk one night, and suddenly they decide to get back at him. So they find out where he lives. They get into the apartment. They put guns in his hand so he can't get the guns off. They're a bit bolted to his hands. He's got 50 bullets in each gun. And he has to survive against Samara Weaving's Nix, who's this coked out psychopath who, it turns out, her whole family was killed when she was young and she went mad. And now she's just basically in the game, killing lots of people and just mad as hell. So these two characters have to go at each other. And Daniel Radcliffe's character is useless, obviously. He tries to tell his ex-girlfriend about it, and she freaks out and runs away from him. And then she's kidnapped. He has to go and rescue her. He's just terrible at it, but his terribleness at it actually keeps the game going longer because he figures some stuff out to avoid getting hunted down instantly. And he's watching him survive throughout the night and day, trying to. He had to last 24 hours with this thing. And you see him slowly getting better at it. And the whole thing is dependent on the actors. Because there's a style to it, but it's a very derivative style. It's very much Hardcore Henry. Long takes at times, or flipping the camera around. It's like the director's seen every action movie, and he throws in everything he's seen before. But you're running behind people and all the rest of it. It's nothing unique in visuals. There's lots of like blacks versus oranges and stuff at night time. Just everything's very cliched visually, but it's enjoyably energetic. There's nothing new, but it's fun. And the acting is very enjoyable because Daniel Radcliffe really enjoys playing this weeby, annoying, hypocritical character who has to get some backbone and always looks ridiculous because he spends the first half of the movie in his underwear and his basically wearing the stuff he'd wear to bed, and he walks around like Arthur Dent, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, basically, with guns, and avoiding getting killed. And then the second half he gets a bit more backbone, and he's sends himself up mercilessly the whole way through the film. We really seem to be enjoying himself playing this guy, and actually get a chance to shoot some guns for a change in a movie. So he's having fun. Samara Weaving playing a psycho, kind of Terminator-ish woman is a lot of fun as well. She's just nuts. Then you find out more about her, and she's a tragic figure. Again, it's because this could have been a terrible character, because of a fun actress playing it. It works fine. It really does. It's very enjoyable. I've heard some people saying that character annoyed them, but I really enjoyed the character. So, just your taste. But it's a fun, enjoyable film. That's all it is. It's a 90 minutes in and out. It tries to make social points that are very obvious, like how hypocritical it is for the people watching this stuff online and enjoying it and then seeing how terrible it all is. That's such an obvious comment. It's like, why bother making it at this point? And it leads up to a brutal conclusion. The film enjoys having lots of gunfights and lots of dead people. That's all it's about. It's trying to be a big dumb action movie. And that's what it is. But it has some nice character work in between. So go watch it. It's enjoyable. An hour and a half B movie. That's all you're going to get from it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. That's 5 movies. I'd say 3 of them, Underwater, The Gentleman and Guns Akimbo, are really enjoyable bits of fluff. Gemini Man is, depending on your taste, if you like Hitman film or not. And Charlie's Angels is if you're really bored or not, you know. But I hope you enjoyed the video anyway, and I hope it was useful to you. I'll see you later with some more videos, right? Bye for now.